This is News 6 Tonight.
Oh, it is the first day of the rest of your life. Hi.
What are you doing?
Welcome to News 6 Tonight. I was supposed to let you start, right?
We talk about it right before the show. It's like, okay, you have the
And then
first
I'm
story.
like,
So
hey.
he can't help it.
I
He
can't.
always has to be first. But I'm just gonna rewind for a second and pretend that didn't happen. Hey, good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us for Thursday's edition of News
Just so
6
you know,
Tonight.
watching at home, a real professional wouldn't have mentioned that I made that mistake.
Because I'm like, well, what's he gonna do now?
Just
I mean,
dive right in.
if there's a plan, let's stick to the plan.
I know, I'm sorry. I messed it up. I'm on a little bit of a high
it's-
tonight.
I-
I just finished my last assignment for my master's
I know
degree,
he's
and I
very
am
excited.
Very excited.
He's very
about that.
excited.
I'm gonna get
So-
my life back.
No, it's fine. Oh my gosh. Yeah, you've been working really hard for that. But we digress. We're here. I'm Ginger Gadsden. That's Matt Austin.
Welcome to
And
the show.
so what I want to say is when I checked my mail today, I got my Amazon, and I didn't even realize they did this. I forgot. It's like an Amazon gift book. Remember Neiman Marcus used to send out this big book of all these things we couldn't afford. You could buy an airplane or a Ferrari or
Yeah.
whatever, but Amazon has this gift book. And the reason I mention that is because we are 56 days away from Thanksgiving and 84 days away from Christmas, but we are 2 days into the government shutdown. And people are now thinking about what are my holidays going to look like if this thing lasts much longer?
I'll tell you, if you are a federal employee, 750,000 of them woke up to furloughs the other day. Now, a furlough, I will say, a lot of people have been throwing that word around. So in the government, even if you're furloughed during this time, you'll still get paid for this time.
Yeah.
That's according to a congressman I was talking to today. So Senate is now, so the House basically had a bill that's a stopgap bill. They came up with that. They sent it to the Senate. Senate is very far from coming up with anything to send back to the House at this point. So today I spoke with two congressmen. We've got a Democrat, Darren Soto, and we have a Republican Congressman, Mike Herodopoulos. And I asked them about the big issue at hand.
Yeah.
Everybody's talking about the shutdown, and they say well, it's about healthcare or something. I'm hearing a lot of generalities
Sure.
about it. But Congress had passed a measure a few years ago to give tax breaks to people who are Obamacare recipients. The
This is
ACA,
Affordable
Affordable
Health
Care
Care
Act,
yeah.
was starting to get expensive, and around COVID, they passed this bill that said, hey, we're going to give these people a break on this because it's getting pretty expensive.
Costly.
And it's impacting a lot of people. So that is not in the Republicans' plan right now, and it does affect a lot of people. So Democrats are sort of, say, taking their stand on this particularly big issue. So let's hear from both sides right now.
We are fighting to protect Central Floridians from a huge healthcare hike of on average 75% that would start on November 1st if we don't extend these Obamacare subsidies. I have the second most Obamacare enrollees in the nation. 271,000 constituents can see upwards of $2,000 to $15,000 to $20,000 in healthcare increases on November 1st if we don't get this done. And Florida has the most Obamacare enrollees in the nation, 4.6 million folks. So this is high stakes for our state as we try to resolve this.
So let's talk about that. That seems to be the major sticking point, those subsidies for the ACA. Is there a place of compromise for the Republicans on that portion of this?
Well, first, I do think there's a place for compromise. I think that's the right thing to do. These folks have been adjusted to these new rates, and we want to try to help people out. But like any program, sometimes there's abuses within that program. For example, if you're a family of 4 out in Arizona and you make $600,000, you get subsidies from the government. I don't think that's right. Or if you're a person in Vermont making $180,000, you get a subsidy. So there's room for adjustments there where we don't have to spend so much. And yes, some of those people might lose their subsidy, but in the 2 examples I just gave you, they can more than afford health insurance.
So these two guys are pretty centrist on each side
Yeah.
of their party. You know, they both seem to be taking reasonable stances. But Darren Soto really threw out some big numbers there.
I was stunned by some of the
I
numbers
did
he was
not know
talking about, especially
4
Florida.
million Floridians are currently on the ACA.
Yeah.
And some of these numbers they're throwing out, that premiums could go up by $15,000 to $20,000 in 1 year for a family. Can you imagine?
You
trying
can't
to eat
sustain that. No, you can't. And just because I think a lot of people get confused when they start hearing Obamacare and ACA, right?
Same thing.
Same
Yeah.
thing we're talking about. More than 4 million people in the state of Florida.
Right.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
That's a lot of people, but I mean, so we'll see what kind of compromise
Yeah.
they come up with. It feels like something is going to have to budge here, and we'll have to wait and see. And Republicans are saying, you know, they're wanting to figure this
Yeah.
whole thing out too.
And just to be clear, you did these interviews this afternoon. Were they, I know you started talking to him yesterday about it. Were they very easy to get in touch with, or were they very agreeable, or did
Yeah,
they
there are
not?
people really wanted to get the word out of what their point of view is
Mm-hmm.
to Central Floridians, to their constituents. And so, yeah, they made it pretty easy to get a hold. They've made themselves available.
Yeah, that's what I was.
As soon as this happened. And I actually had already had an interview with Darren Soto scheduled for tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And we called his people and said, hey, I'm guessing he's going to be in DC. And they're like, yeah. And so it was about something totally different.
Sure.
So we ended up talking about the shutdown. And to even it out, we also wanted to talk to Mike
Of
Paradopoulos.
course. Yeah, I just wanted to ask you that because it always is good to show people who voted for either of these gentlemen that, you know, they are still working for them.
Right. And that
And-
was, you know, the interesting thing about the House. So they voted on this like a week and a half ago,
Mm-hmm.
and they've just been waiting for the Senate to kind of figure out its
Yeah.
portion of it so it can send it back. So they've been not doing a whole lot for the last week and a half. So so they had some time. Today was Yom Kippur, so the
Sure, they couldn't do
government is
anything, yeah.
basically not doing anything today anyway.
Yeah.
So it was nice of them to talk to me.
Yeah, well, no, nice job of getting them both to kind of sit down with you and tell their side of the story and figure out how something's got to give soon, and they've got to come to some kind of.
For all these employees. Who are
Yeah,
out of
yeah,
work
that's
right
for sure. All right, moving on to another story we've been talking about. It seems like because we have been for several weeks now, going on 3 or 4 weeks now, almost a month, where there was a death at Epic Universe on one of the roller coasters. Because this is a brand new park, and a 32-year-old man died. His name is Kevin Rodriguez Zavala. He was in a wheelchair but got on this ride, and there's so many questions about this because investigators have not released video, or Epic has not released video of what happened on the
still don't
ride.
know,
But now we're getting a little bit more information about what happened in the short time after the ride came to a stop. And here was a person a lifeless body sitting there. And when paramedics showed up, the work that they did. Our News 6 investigator, Lewis Bolden, picks up the story from there.
According to the report, Orange County Fire Rescue got a call from EMS just after 9 p.m. on September 17th. Orange County Fire sent 3 units. When the first unit arrived at Stardust Racers, they saw 2 Universal paramedics were holding the patient up in one of the seats of the ride, with a restraint bar on the patient and an AED attached to him. We don't know if his restraint bar had been raised and lowered again before the fire department got there, or if other people were still on the ride. It's not clear how long Universal paramedics had already been with him, but one paramedic did tell Orange County Fire Rescue the man had no pulse. According to the report, the restraint bar was lifted off the patient. The patient was placed on a backboard and stretcher as CPR was performed. The patient was then taken down the elevator to the ground floor and transported to the hospital in an OCFR rescue unit.
Okay, that's as much information as we've been able to glean about what kind of condition he was in right after the
I'm
ride
more
came
confused
to
than
arrest.
ever after hearing this.
And so the medical examiner, as we've been saying, says that he died from multiple blunt impact injuries, and the ride performed as it was supposed to. But we're still waiting to see video of the actual ride itself and what point during the ride this incident happened. When did he lose his life? When did something hit him? And we still don't know what hit him
It
and
just
what
doesn't
caused it.
add up because, okay, if you died of multiple blunt injuries and you're on a 30-second ride, you
Well, it's
don't, and you
longer than
don't
30
have a-
seconds,
That
though.
was a minute. I think it's somewhere between 30 seconds and a minute long ride, right? And so you get these multiple injuries, and then by the time that crews get there in 6 minutes, you don't have a pulse.
No.
Your heart's not beating.
But they were
anymore?
still trying to revive him, and I'm sure that's
course,
exactly
yeah.
what they're trained to do. But it's just it's
Just seems
alarming
so
to hear.
fast.
I know it really is fast. So that even you're right, it does bring up more questions.
Yeah.
And we will continue to dig into getting more answers to
Somebody
all of
knows
those
exactly
questions.
what happened.
Oh, a lot of
because
people
there's
probably
video
know.
all over the tracks of that roller coaster.
Yeah.
And
But
that's
it's-
what the family's requesting right now from
Yeah.
Universal and the
But
police.
but at least we get that little bit of something, even if it does raise more questions.
Confuses
Yeah,
us
I know,
even more.
They
Yeah.
just got to release the video, and I think it'll stop all of this from happening.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Yeah. So police in Oviedo, this is an interesting story that popped up today.
Oh my
They
goodness.
were looking for a guy who shoplifted shrimp.
Allegedly, Matt.
Well, someone-
suspected.
Someone shoplifted the shrimp. We don't know if it was the people involved,
Yeah.
but they pretty sure they thought they had the guy.
Yeah.
So they go to a house, they start, it's people are confused. They're like, what are you here for? And they start arresting this guy who's in his 40s. He has the same name as the guy they suspect of shoplifting.
Mhm.
However, the guy they suspect is 70 years old. And this guy is not 70 years old. So they start arresting his son. His wife is very confused and just throws herself in the middle of it. So we're going to take a little time to show you some of this body cam video of when this all happened.
Wait a minute. You cannot come into my home.
Okay, there was an incident in Oviedo, okay, and we need to talk to you about. So
About
come outside
what?
now, and I'm not going to tell you again.
What's the incident?
I will talk to you here, but I'm not going to ask you again. I don't want to force you out of your
No,
home.
you cannot come into my home.
Okay,
I'm
I'm going to force you out
100%
here.
civil veteran.
Put it
Excuse
aside.
me. You cannot. Wait a minute. You cannot come into my home. Wait a minute.
Yeah. So there's the wife saying 2 or 3 times, "You cannot come into my home."
Yeah. And so what the police say is that he gave him the name, but didn't give him the birth date. And then
And they asked him to step out.
and they said, come outside. He wouldn't come outside, according to police. But this got even more complicated when they put him in handcuffs. And then you can hear his just total confusion
Mhm.
and how upset he is about all this in this next video.
You guys can't tell me why the hell you guys are here at night? I don't even know why the hell you guys are here.
So he's devastated. He's like, I don't even know what's going on.
And his
here.
wife said he has been home all day.
Right. She's like, there's no way. But I would like, I mean, it's a crazy situation. And I was thinking
Mm-hmm.
about, you always put yourself in the scenario, no matter what it is.
Of course. So what would I have done?
I'm like, if my wife, if she's watching this, which she does sometimes, if I'm ever getting arrested, just let it happen. Please don't get between me and the tasers. I appreciate the love there, but
I've met your wife.
oh, she would definitely. There's 100% chance my wife's getting tased if I'm being
She's
brought
putting
in.
herself right in the middle of that because she knows you did nothing wrong. And it's like, well, and I think it's what anyone would do. What are you doing? We've been here all day. And so he wouldn't give his birth date. Finally, when they called and said, hey, this is the name, but the name of the person they're looking for is Senior, and he's 70 years old. This guy is 40, and his name is Junior. So it's obviously his dad they are looking for. And they figure out that, okay, we didn't do this the right way. And they started, when he was in handcuffs, he started complaining about back pain, and the paramedics came and took him away and everything. And he eventually went to the hospital. But what ended up happening is that no charges will be pressed against the guy who is accused of stealing the shrimp because investigators went back to look at surveillance video and like, we can't find any evidence of someone taking the shrimp. And you're saying, well, it's from a Winn-Dixie, and you're like, well, what kind of shrimp are they going after people like
How would you
this
go to
for?
the home?
It's like $120 worth of frozen shrimp from the Winn-Dixie. It's like, okay, I don't know. I don't know.
Wow.
It's such a confusing story.
It is a weird story because you don't expect a whole crew of Oviedo police to show up at your house.
Yeah,
Over
and the guys who
$120
were all
worth of
involved in that are going through some remedial training
Yes.
to kind of figure out how that should have been handled, perhaps.
Because you could tell by the blurred face
Yeah.
that guy wasn't 70. Even under the blurring, you could say, yeah, this guy's probably
Yeah,
not 70 years
exactly.
old."
All right, we have much more to come here on News 6 tonight. This is a story about a woman and a residence that they've been in the news before. We've seen them before, but now she's in the news again for a different reason. We'll talk about it on the other side.
Well, that was a tease.
Yeah, and you got the latest from the sheriff just a little while ago, I think. So make sure we have that for News 6 tonight. Hey, thanks for stopping by. We know you're busy, but news doesn't stop, and neither do we.
That's right. And this is News 6 Tonight, where we leverage this entire busy newsroom with our community correspondents, our producers, our content desk, and then we filter through that. We have a casual conversation about the news that impacts Central Florida.
Yeah, we live here in the community, and we rely on you for our neighborhood network because you're our eyes and ears as well, and we can't do it without you.
So you can watch us all over the place, YouTube, News 6 Plus app, and clickorlando.com. While you're here, feel free to engage. Let us know who you are and where you're from.
Welcome back to News 6 Tonight, everyone. Thank you so much for sticking around with us on this Thursday night. We still have a lot of stuff to get to, including there was a viral video a couple of months ago, and it happened, and our Troy Campbell went out to see what was going on. There was this woman, a couple actually. A guy was going door to door, just knocking on doors, and she comes out of her house, and she is just letting him have it. She is lighting him up with all kinds of names, whatever. So today it turns out that same woman has been arrested now. Apparently, there has been some abuse going on with her elderly stepmom. Our Mark Lehman has more on that story.
Today, I've been going through the arrest report, which details the extent of the injuries investigators say were inflicted on the victim. Deputies tell us they've responded to the home here behind me several times this year. Now at least one person is facing charges. Cheryl Pyle was booked into the Orange County Jail Wednesday on a charge of aggravated elderly abuse. The 55-year-old was arrested at her stepmother's home on Aberton Court, where she's been living with her boyfriend since December. According to the arrest report, someone called for a well-being check after they overheard a heated argument threatening a person's life. When deputies arrived, they found Pyle's stepmother with severe swelling to her face and several injuries on her arm. She later told paramedics her stepdaughter and the boyfriend beat her, adding Pyle kicked her in the ribs. The victim also recalling a time when the couple tied a rope from her bedroom door to the garage door to prevent her from exiting her room.
You. That's right. Record me.
Cool, take your black out of here.
The home where Pyle was arrested is the same address where a solar utility worker said he was racially harassed and uploaded the video to TikTok, where it went viral.
So now that may give you some insight. Not that it excuses their behavior at all for anything that they've done,
Yeah.
but I feel like it gives us a little more insight as to why they didn't want anyone nosing around their house or knocking on their door
That's
because
an
they may have
interesting
seen
thought.
or heard something, or they're just terrible people. You take your pick.
I feel like I need to zip my lip on this one, but yes,
If the allegations are true and they're beating this older woman like this, and she's got to the point where she has swelling and bruising, that's awful.
doesn't get
That's
a whole lot
terrible.
lower
Yeah.
than that. But these people they have not gone to court yet.
No, they
We
haven't.
don't know, what the results of any sort of court case will be.
But she has been arrested.
She has been arrested, and it sounds like she's charged. So, but hopefully that elderly woman, odd that she would be in charge of her elderly stepmother.
But
You
I
know?
mean,
You don't hear about that too often.
no, but maybe that's the only surviving relative she
Maybe
has.
obviously,
Yeah.
this woman doesn't have any other
Yeah,
options.
I hope she does after this, though.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about the Doge team. They made some announcements today. Shots specifically fired at Orlando and Orange County. They started listing off
Verbal shots.
some of the misgivings. Yes, verbally, of course.
I mean, open carry, Florida.
Yeah.
Just want to clarify.
We're just talking here. So here is the aptly named fiscal pitbull / state CFO, according to the state, Blaise Ngolia.
We still don't have the full reports from the
forgot.
Doge
Like, that's
into
not
the
Blaise
city of Orlando
Dadgummit.
or into
That was my
Orange
Blaze,
County.
you look so young.
But that has not stopped CFO Blaise Ngolia from providing some bullet points.
But these numbers are astounding. In Orange County alone, $190 million of this year's budget is wasteful and excessive. The city of Orlando is paying almost $500,000 to count trees. To count trees. Maybe they're trying to find the money tree.
Alongside Governor Ron DeSantis in Jacksonville Wednesday, Blaise Ngolia honed in on examples of what he deemed wasteful and excessive spending. And the city of Orlando took quite a few hits. Orlando Mayor Buddy Dyer saying in a statement that he's proud of Orlando's fiscal prudence, writing, quote, "We have kept our millage rate unchanged for more than a decade and delivered a balanced budget each year while continuing to meet the needs of our growing community and the 75 million visitors who come to our city annually," end quote. Orange County Mayor Jerry Deming striking a similar tone, that the county takes its responsibility to taxpayers seriously and saying, quote, "We stand by the investments we make in our community."
You know, I'm not just doing this to just go around and crow about property tax. I want to see something big enacted. That's the whole goal.
Okay, so obviously the first person you saw in that story was not Blaise Ngolia.
That was Mike Valenti.
Yeah, if you heard any voices, random voices, it wasn't us. But that
I have no idea who that was. Some interesting things they point out, though. $70,000 for hot yoga classes for employees. We don't have that in the News 6 budget here.
we don't need it.
And,
You don't need hot yoga. You just go outside and do yoga.
right. Yeah, this is Florida. It's pretty easy. And we can do it until apparently December. Meteorologist Jonathan
Year-round
Vegas
hot yoga
joins
outside.
us now. It would have been wet yoga out there.
Oh my gosh, the rain woke me up this morning.
Yeah, no, it was crazy across parts of Central Florida, guys. We might have a repeat performance of that for some. It might not be exactly where we had it this morning, but we're going to be in this kind of pattern where we get these downpours off of the Atlantic over the next couple of days. I'll show you the map here. We also have a little highlight from the Hurricane Center. Now, I'm not too jazzed about this. I don't think it's going to develop or anything like that. Impacts, even if it does wind up, and it's that little flare up of thunderstorms you see out over the Bahamas right
I was going to
over
say, I
here.
don't even see anything.
Yeah, it's very minuscule. And what really the deal is, there's going to be a little boundary setting up where winds come together, like through South Florida and then over the Bahamas. And it's really like these clouds you see right here by Miami. It's going to eventually be right there where we see like a mass of thunderstorms really get going. So it's kind of in the future over the weekend, something would develop. If you'd see an X there on the map, if there was the way that the Hurricane Center does it, if the disturbance was there. So it's kind of like a future disturbance develops and then has the potential to kind of wind up a little bit. Regardless, though, don't think it's anything super concerning. What we are watching for is a potential flood threat, regardless of if this develops or not, because we're going to have the repeated rounds of heavy rain coming through. So coming up tonight at 9:30, we're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about another wave that's out there in the Atlantic and then get you through the next couple of days into the weekend. It's not going to be the best beach weekend, and that's going to be an understatement. So we'll break all that down in about 10 minutes.
Spoiler alert. All right, Jonathan, we'll see you
Yeah.
at 9:30. Thank you.
Thanks, buddy. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with an interesting story about how do you give a robot a ticket? I don't know. Welcome to News 6 Tonight. We are so thankful that you're joining us here wherever you found us.
Yeah, you know what this tells me? If you have made this your new streaming destination, it tells me you're smart. Also, good looking. Because you chose to watch the news in a different way. That makes you really smart. Anybody can give you the news from a teleprompter or an old newspaper. We do it in a fresh new way.
That's right. So check us out wherever you like to stream. We have this app for your TV, News 6 Plus. You can find it on Roku and Amazon and whatever your smart TV is cooking. So thank you. We would love to hear your comments down
Oh my
below.
gosh. Yeah.
And then we'll show them.
Yeah, we will. News 6 Plus. The plus is you.
Ooh.
Hey, welcome back, everyone. You know, we've been talking about these autonomous cars a lot now. We've seen them around parts of Central Florida too, but they are happening everywhere. And one of the popular ones, Waymo. So it begs the question, what happens when these cars are driving around and they break the law? And we've seen that happen as well. CBS reporter Chris Van Cleve has a little bit of what might happen.
Waymo just drove around the school bus.
Cell phone video catches an autonomous Waymo passing a school bus stopped with its red lights flashing in the Atlanta area Monday, a move that could land a human driver there a $1,000 ticket. It's the latest in a series of Waymo incidents that have gone viral. Over the weekend, San Bruno, California police pulled over one after it made an illegal U-turn.
Right now, California police would typically cite a driver, not a vehicle. And they don't necessarily have a mechanism to cite a car that has no driver. But the state is changing the law. Next year, these driverless cars will be able to get tickets just like people.
Waymo, owned by Google's parent Alphabet, offers driverless rides in 5 cities with plans to expand.
So we're getting on the freeway.
Last year, we got an exclusive look as Waymo was testing on Arizona freeways.
Yeah, so now the cars will start getting tickets and the companies that own them will start paying the price.
All right. It's an interesting, who would have ever thought?
Yeah.
This is what we are.
Would we be talking about? Yeah.
All right. Thanks for watching News 6 Tonight. Have a great one. We'll see you tomorrow
Bye.
at 9 o'clock.